Hi, everyone. I'm Lori with JLV Moments and More, and welcome to another Disney Insight in 5. And I'm going to keep it less than 5. We'll try. But today I'm going to talk about a rope drop. Now, I have learned there's so much Disney terminology out there, and there are really a lot of people that don't understand the Disney terminology. And I get it. I think if somebody had said rope drop to me 10 years ago, I may not have known exactly what it was, although having worked in the entertainment industry, I had a bit of a concept in the beginning. But for those of you that don't know, rope drop means that you are entering the park when they open. You were right there at quote unquote rope drop. And they literally years ago used to have a rope, two people standing on either side that had a rope, and you would stand at that rope, and then they would let go of the rope and everyone would run to whatever land they were going to, Adventureland, Fantasyland, whichever one it was, they were running to that. Now, just within the past, I would say, week or so, and today is May 11th, so just within the past week, Disney has changed their quote unquote rope drop process a little bit. So let me explain. If you are staying at a resort, most likely you are allowed to have early entry. So let's say your park opens up at 8:30, which we were just at Hollywood Studios a little while ago, and that's what happened. Our park opened at 8:30 for early entry. That meant that they actually opened the gates, not the security part, but the gates where you do your magic band or whatever, your card or whatever, where you did your tickets. They opened that up 30 minutes early. So at 8 o'clock, we were allowed to walk into Hollywood Studios. Now, there were people greeting you there, but there weren't any stores open or anything like that. But that gave us 30 minutes to get to the ride that we wanted to get to. In this case, we were working to get to Slinky Dog. So we get to Slinky Dog. We get in line in Slinky Dog. It wasn't like we had to wait all the way back at the beginning of Toy Story Land. We actually got to walk over to Slinky Dog. We actually got to get in line at Slinky Dog. And that particular day, they actually started Slinky Dog a couple minutes early before 8:30. Around 8:27 is when they started Slinky Dog. But within the first 10 minutes, we were in line and we were on Slinky Dog by 8:35, 8:40 or something like that. So that's what rope drop is these days. It's getting up, getting to those parks, and being at your ride and ready to go. That is what rope drop is. Now, let's face it. Does everyone want a rope drop? Probably not. One of the things that we did have to do because we didn't want to drive is that we did have to get up early. We did have to make sure we were to our bus fairly early. We did have to wait a little bit before we could get into. So there were a lot of waiting. But my opinion, I feel we didn't have to wait quite as long had we decided to go into the park a little bit later. So just something I want to point out. By doing all of that, by going at quote unquote rope dropping again, because we were staying on a resort, we were allowed to do those early hours. We managed to get a couple rides in before the actual park opened at 9 o'clock. Now, from my understanding is because the park opened at 9 o'clock, those with regular attendance, they would be able to get in at 8:30, but they would only be allotted to a certain point. And then at 9 o'clock, when they do the welcome to whichever park you're at, they do a big announcement and all that kind of stuff. That's when you would be allowed into the actual queue of the ride. So, which can make the queue of the ride very, very long. So there are plus sides to getting to the park early and being a part of that early entry. But I know not everyone can stay on property. Maybe you live in Florida, and so there's no reason to stay on property, and so you go a little bit later. What I would recommend is if you don't make rope drop, go later in the day. I know Florida can get hot and so on and so forth, but a lot of times as you get into the late afternoon and evening, a lot of those ride times do die down. Not always, just depends on the day, and there's no rhyme or reason, but a lot of times those ride times do die down, and so you're not waiting in line as long if you go later in the day. Also, the sun's starting to come down a little bit. Maybe it's not as hot, just kind of depends on the time of year. So that's what rope drop is. If you do decide to rope drop, good luck to you. I love doing it. Now that our daughter's a little older, it's a little bit easier. We don't have to wrangle the stroller. I'm under 5 minutes. So what I'm going to say here is please subscribe to our channel, JLV Moments and More. Please like this video and watch the other videos that are out there to give you a little bit of Disney insight in 5. And also hit that notification bell so that you know when the next Disney Insight in 5 happens. We'll talk to you soon and have a wonderful day. Bye.